Hey, hello, good morning, guys. So, I hope all of you are well and fine, and you have must have practiced what we have discussed in the last module. We have covered up how to take data from different places, different connectivity modes, improving performance tips in Power Query Editor, and we are done with that. So now we need to jump up into Power Query Editor to start cleaning up our data when we take data from Power BI when what we need to perform to clean up the operation. So we'll discuss about all those cleanup operations here in Power Query Editor. So that is the agenda of this module. So if anyone is very new or not gone the videos properly before, let me explain you what exactly I mean from Power Query Editor. Whenever you take data into Power BI, whenever you are connecting to Power BI and click on Get Data button, you click on any of the file to start taking the data. So if you take when you open up when you take connect to the file or any database or any other analytics online services, when you connect to the data, you got these table names. You get your table names from the data source. To select the data, select the table which you want to load. So you just can click on either load or transform data. So if you click on load, it will be loaded into Power BI. But if you click on transform data, you need to perform some cleanup operations on this data, and definitely it is very much required when you work on original data sources. So we need to click on transform data. It will open or immediately open up the Power Query Editor window. Okay, but right now I have already got it open. We have already loaded the data set previously. So I'm not going to load it again. So you can go here to the Power Query Editor directly, or if you have already loaded the data later on, if you want to make any changes, you can go here into Power BI Desktop on transform data. Click on transform data. It will immediately open up the Power Query Editor window. Yeah. So let's come back here in the Power Query Editor. First of all, as I already said before as well, make sure that you rename the tables properly. Your tables must be renamed in a very good way. If you for renaming a table, just click on the table name. There is a name option given here. Rename the table accordingly, or you can double click here as well and change the name of table. Or you can right click as well and click on rename option as well. Okay. So all these options are available. Now, what the next point? If I check my table names, they are all, I think they are all correct right now. We have already renamed them in the previous sessions, so I don't have any problem with that. But what about the next point? The next point is we need to check about the data type of the columns and column names as well. The column names must be proper as well, and plus the data type of the column. Okay, especially when we talk about the dates. When we have, for example, I am right now on the first table of dim date. Okay, which is giving me about the date information about my database. But this column I can see it is in not in proper date format. It's in ABC. That means it is in a text format. So we have to check for the data types. As I already said previously, if your table contains a column which has a date time combination, then you just split it into two columns. But right now I don't have the date time. We just have the date. So we have to check the data type for this column. It's in ABC text format, which is not correct. So we have to convert it into the date. And there is a very big reason for that as well. That if you see here, if I go on to transform or add column option, there is a date option here. If I click on this, you can see these options are all disabled. Year, month, quarter, week, day, they are all disabled. Subtract days, they are all disabled. The reason is the data type of this column is not correct. As soon as I change it to date data type, we are replacing the current only. So yes, these options are now enabled. It will allow me to fetch out these informations from this date column. Okay. So this option is available in both the places. In the transform menu bar as well, you can find this option. And in the add column bar as well, you can find this option. So why at two places? The reason for that, if you need to make the changes here inside this column only, you will perform from transform menu bar. If you will make any changes here itself only, it will add the changes here in this column itself. Okay, the date has been gone. It's only giving me the year. Don't worry, we can remove it by just undoing your step. So for undo any step, what you need to do, this is a applied step recording place where all of your steps are getting recorded. So what you can do is you can click on this cross mark and ask to undo the column, undo the step, what you have done, sorry. So we are done with this. So that's what I was telling. The difference between this transform and add column is here in the date option. If you are doing from transform menu bar, whatever changes you will make, it will be appear here inside this column only. But I don't want this. I want it from add column to give some extra values inside this column. So let's have a look what other columns we have right now. We have the month number. That's fine. The quarter is fine. Year already we have. We have week of month. We have start of month. That's very good. But apart from that, what we want, if we see the year, we can sometimes we need to check out the start date of the year for analysis purpose may be required the start date of the year. So we can date start of year or end of year, sorry. And we similarly there can be start of month number. This month will give me the month number. This month number which is we already have here. So I don't want it right now. We can have a start date of the month, end date of the month, number of days in a month. Very, very important step. So if we click on this, it will give me the number of days in the month. Okay. And then similarly, may want the name of a month. So I don't think so that we have name of month. Yes, it is required for me. What I'll do is I'll go for month, name of month. So it will give me the full spelling of month name. We go here, we can see the month name. It's in proper. If you want to rename the column, you can just click on rename. I think it's okay for me. The month name and the days in a month is also correct. If you want, you can change the data type of these columns as well, but not required. Apart from that, we can find the information quarter wise. We already have the quarter, so I don't want it. We can find the information week wise, the weekday or everything. The weekday information will come from here. So what is the meaning of weekday? The day we already have. We already have a column with the day. No, we don't have. So let's add it. So I want to fetch out the day separately out of this. For example, out of this date, what is the day? If I talk about this day, then date is 2nd January. So day number is 2. If you want to separately fetch out the day part, we can click on day. It will give me the day numbers. Plus, I want to see the day name. What exactly the day was on this particular 1st January 1999. So I can click on day and I just click on name of day. It will give me whether it was a Saturday, a Sunday, what it was. Okay, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what it was. It makes me analysis, believe me, it helps a lot in analysis. It makes it so simple to do the analysis that how many sales we are getting on a particular day. So these columns are very, very helpful, but make sure that your data type is correct before you are doing any of these operations. Okay. So I hope you are clear with this transform and add column option with the dates and why it is so important to work the data type. We are done with the date table. I don't want any other option here. What about the geo table? So in the geo table, I have zip. That's okay. City is also fine. State is also fine. No problem. District is fine. Country is fine. The region also looks fine. So no issues. The manufacturer table, the ID of manufacturer is okay. The name of manufacturer is also okay. The product table, product ID, product code, category, segment, manufacturer ID, and manufacturer. Okay. So we are okay with this as well. Okay. But it was, I think, something like that before. Okay. It was like, I think I have made some changes before, but if you in the original data source, it was something like that we have this product code, product name given here as Abbas MS01, and the manufacturer name is given here as Abbas and all the manufacturer names as well. So what was why I performed that step? Let me tell you. What exactly the problem here is, I have this manufacturer name separately given here, Abbas and all the other manufacturers. If I go to the drop down list, I can find all the name of all the manufacturers. I don't want the manufacturer name to be included with my product code. I don't want it because that's not giving me the required answer, because I have the manufacturer code separately given, manufacturer name separately given here into another column. So why do I need it? Okay. So what should I do to split the value here? What should I do for that? So let me explain you a very, very important concept here. We need it a lot of times. That is called as split column. Okay. So what options we have for that is, you can see here in the home menu bar itself, we have the split column. So when you need to split the column, how do you want to split out? Based on what? By a delimiter, by number of characters, by position of a particular character? No, I'm interested in by delimiter. You can get the same option here as well by right clicking here on the column name, right clicking, and you can also find split column. Same options here as well. So yes, right now we are interested in the by delimiter. What is your delimiter? We want to split the column on the occurrence of first space. On the occurrence of first space. So yes, space, the leftmost delimiter, because from the left hand side we are coming. So the first space when it will occur, I want it to be delimited. Okay, and that's it. And I just hit on OK. What it will do, it has done now. What it has done, it has created two separate columns, Abbas and MS01. You remember it was Abbas MS01 in a single column. Now it has created two columns. I don't want this column because I already have my manufacturer names in another column. So I don't need it. And I just need this product code. So I'll rename this column as my product code. So on this basis, we can split the columns as per our requirements. If it can be from a delimiter, it can be based on you total number of characters after which you want to split the column, or any other option by space or any other one. Okay, so that is also fine now. I'm okay with this as well. Okay, let's check on the fact sales table if we need anything. So that also looks okay, no problem. But this date is not in correct format because it's also in ABC and 1 to 3. So I should put it in date format. Now that looks okay, and the zip is fine. Units are also fine. We can change the units as well to whole number, not a fixed decimal number. Revenue is okay, and the country is also fine. Yeah, so I'm okay till here. Till here we have done the steps required. But sometimes what happens is, let me tell you some important points here to remove the unwanted columns. Maybe possible I have maybe this for this example right now we have 5-7 columns in a table. But maybe possible your table in actual when you work on real time company in the client projects, the number of columns into a table are more than 40-50 columns. Maybe 100 out of 100 columns we have. So we don't want all the columns to be included here into the reporting. So what we want is we want to remove the unwanted column. So there are two options for that. If you just need to keep that in mind that we can remove the unwanted columns in two ways. First, select the unwanted column or remove that particular column. You can select multiple columns in one single go as well by pressing the shift key or control key. Press the control key and select the required columns to be removed. Just right click and you can remove the columns from here as well. So remove columns, or maybe right click or remove columns. Okay. So remove the unwanted columns because it unnecessarily create confusions in the data model as well. As a good developer, it's always a good practice to keep the required columns in the data set only. Okay. Apart from that, there is one more very important option, that is if I select the required columns and I say, okay, this column, I want this column only to these three columns only to appear in my data set, and I want to remove all the other columns. Instead of removing them one by one, what I can do is I can click on these three columns and remove other columns. I can click on remove other columns. So what it will do, it will remove all the unwanted other columns from your data set in this table and will keep only these three columns. Okay. So whenever, for example, if I go to the sales fact table, so I can say, okay, I'm interested in units only. I don't want all the other columns. I'll just click on units, right click, remove other columns. Okay. So if I click on this, it will remove all the other columns. Don't worry. As I already told you, we have the undo option here. We can click and we can cancel any applied step. Right? Cancel this step. It will give me my columns back. Yeah. And one more very important thing here, guys. Let's say suppose I don't want to keep I don't want to keep the whole row. I want to have a glimpse of my data set. For that I want to have a look for that. So for previewing my data set, I want to say, okay, keep the top rows only. Keep top rows only. So it will ask you how many top rows, how many number of rows you want. I want to remove the unwanted data from downside. So I'll say, okay, I want to keep the initial 100 rows only. So now in the data set, we have 100 rows only. We have 10 columns and 100 rows only. So it's up to you. I'm removing it once again because I want my whole data set right now. But it's a very, very important step. Sometimes we need to take care of that we need to keep the top rows or we need to remove the top rows. I want to say that, okay, I have already done analysis on the previous data. I don't want to load the initial 100 rows again and again. So what I can do is remove top rows. Once again, it will ask you how many number of rows you want to remove. So I can say 100, remove the 100 top rows. We'll remove the top 100 rows from your data set. Okay, so now we have 999 rows left, 999 plus rows left because we have removed only top 100. So I am removing, undoing this step once again because I want my whole data set. Okay, we have all other options as well. Remove bottom rows. You don't want to remove from top. You can remove the bottom rows only. You can keep the bottom rows only. That is also available. Okay, remove duplicates. A very, very important step. Biggest, I can say one of the more biggest important steps. Remove the duplicate. Okay, we have to keep the unique values only. Your team is asking you to keep the unique values only in the data set in a particular column. So go to column and click on remove duplicates. It will remove the duplicate entries for your required columns. Or you can go here as well and click on remove duplicates. We have this option here as well, remove duplicates. If we have any errors, it will remove the errors. Errors means it is not fitting up to your it is not fitting up to the data type. It is not suiting the data type. The values are not matching. Those kind of errors it will remove. Okay, we have blank rows. One more very important step to clean up the blank rows. How to handle the blank rows in Power Query? A very, very simple step. Go to the column name. If you have the null values, go here, click on this, click on remove blank rows. It will remove all the unwanted blank rows from your column. Okay, so keep that point in also in the mind. How? Remove rows, remove blank rows. Similarly, here also you will we don't need to keep the blank rows, but we have to once sometimes we need the duplicates to keep the duplicates only. Keep duplicates. Okay. So these four options are very much required for profiling the data. Okay, that we called as profiling the data. We need to remove the blank rows. We need to keep the top rows. We need to keep the duplicates, or we need to remove the duplicates. That helps a lot in these cases. Okay, so make sure that you know how to use them and you can practice them. You practice on these. Sometimes what happens is I want to say, okay, I'm fine with this, but what is I want to say that is also looks fine. Product looks fine. Get sales. Okay, maybe we go to this column of geo, and inside the geo, I want to say that okay, I want to replace this. What values we have here is local and others. First of all, maybe I don't want this column. I'm not happy with the values of this region here. So I'm removing this column. Okay. On what basis I'm not very confirmed that on which basis this column has been added, and I want to make sure that my region is showing correct because my let's say my stakeholders, they are asking me to show the values region wise. The region can be categorized into three values. It can be a local customer, it can be a regional customer, which are following to my US particular area, a regional customer, and then maybe if they are not following into either local or regional, then we can name them into some other area. Okay, so how to add on which basis I am adding that column of region here. So what we can do is let's talk about these options of add column, how we add different columns. So I want to add a conditional column. That column of adding region column, that depends on my zip value of the customer, the zip code of the customer value, uh, zip value of the customer. Sorry, I'll go to conditional column. So what is the meaning of this condition column is you are adding a column based on the value in another column. So I want to add a region column here. What my condition is, if the zip code, there are a lot of operators here. Equals, does not equal, begins with, does not begin with, ends with, the like operator kind of, in a SQL. So I'll say begins with 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, 720, or maybe 7.2, let's say first of all, then I'll say it's a local customer. Okay. Okay, fine. I'll add one more condition, else if part. If the zip begins with 720, then it will go to regional. Okay, you can add more if you need more, but I am happy with this right now. And I'll say if they'll not fit in both of them, then they'll go to others. Okay, so what exactly the way of working? Let me explain you. When it will process, it will go to the zip code of the customer, the zip value of the customer. It will check out that okay, if the zip code is beginning with 7.2, then it will belong to local. After 7.2, it can have any value. But if not 7.2, then it will check okay, is it beginning from 7.2? Yes, it is. If it is beginning from 7.2, then it will go to regional, or otherwise it will go to others. The condition of order, the order of conditions is very important here. Okay, if I move this condition first, then what it will do, it will check for all the column names which are starting from 7.0. Okay, and then it will only check for those one. Like for example, these one. What will happen with these one? 7.1, 7.1.1. So we have to take care of the conditions. So as it's up to your requirement, you can move them up and down as per your requirement. What you just need to do is click on these three dot ellipses and click them move down or up. And if you want, you can delete a condition as well. So that's fine with me. I'm okay. I hit on okay. So it will add a new column for me with the name of region, where the values of are based on my conditions in the zip column, in the value of zip column. So that's absolutely okay. And now what we need to do is, if we need to do, in case sometimes what I want is we need to duplicate the columns as well. So first of all, what I want to say here, I want to add a column from an example. First of all, I want to add a column from an example. Let's say, for example, I want a country name, but a country name, I'm not happy with this way. I want it to appear in uppercase. I want the country names to be appeared in uppercase. So don't worry, you don't need to learn any function here. How will I do that? No problems. Go to column from example section. Select your country column. Go to column from example. In the add column menu bar, column from example. So are you talking about all the columns? No, I'm talking right now about my selected column, and my selected column is country. So I'll click on from selection. So that means what, I'm giving an example from my selected column. So what it is asking me, the country name. Let's say for example, I want to apply this on country column right now. So what I'll do here is I'll give the same country name in a capital case. That's it. I just hit enter button. So what it will do, it will write a M code expression here. By default, the language, not by default, sorry, always, every time, the language runs in the Power Query editor is M code, which runs in the background. You don't need to worry about that. That's what my meaning was. It is by default written by Power Query editor. The Power Query editor will help you to write the M code. So you don't need to learn it. It's kind of a flash fill option of Excel. If you have learned flash fill in Excel, the same kind of option. So what it is doing, it is writing a M code for me here. Text dot upper. It is applying on this text function, converting into upper using the upper function, the country column. If I hit OK, it will convert the value into uppercase for all the countries. I'm so happy with this. I don't want this column anymore. I'll remove this. And I'll rename this column as country name. So this, on the basis of this giving example, you have just given an example that I want this was my value, small case. I want that to be converted in uppercase. I just given an example. So based on that example, Power Query has helped me to apply it on all the values, all the rows. Let's do one more. I'll say, okay, this Sarth district falls into local region. I want to add such kind of a string into my I want to add a column where I'll say something, the value something like that. Sarth region, the Sarth district falls into local region. So how will I do that? So for that, maybe I need all the columns, or I just need these two columns because these two columns are required. So there is no big difference between these two options, from all columns or from selection. If you need all the columns to include in your example, go on from all columns. If you need the selected columns to be included in your example, go from selection. So I have selected two columns this time. So I'll go once again from selection. Okay, it is asking me to write my expression. What is your expression? I'll say, okay, South district falls into local region. I'm done. Hit enter. What it will do, it will write this once again the M code expression. It will write once again this M code expression where it is writing the text.combine function for concatenating my strings. The district column, then we have a string concatenation, then once again the region column. And this is the concatenated string. So if I hit OK, it will write this expression for each and every row for my table. Hit OK. It has written the beautiful expression for me, what I require. So this is called adding a column from an example. I added a column from an example. Okay. So I hope you must be clear from this. Okay, we'll add some, will in the coming up parts, we'll talk about these all other add column options as well. So that, thank you for this part of module 4 first part. We'll talk in the coming up part, we will talk about the other option. Thank you, and keep practicing all these points and come up with your questions.